I'm Andrea, and I'm replacing most of my bike's drivetrain as someone who is totally new to bike mechanics. I have already done the cassette and the chain, and in this video, I am going to be replacing the chain rings. The first step for changing my chain rings was removing my old chain rings. Now, something that I had been asked by a couple people online was why I was bothering to replace my chain rings when I could just get a brand new crankset. And the answer to this is that it's my first big bike maintenance project, so I was trying to keep things as simple as possible. I also was trying to keep things as low cost as possible, which is why I went to a local bike co-op where I found a very lightly used crankset that had chain rings that would be compatible with my bike. So what I'm doing here is harvesting the new chain rings from the newer but lightly used crankset and putting them on my bike. Old chain ring number 1 and old chain ring number 2. They're obviously very worn. I have a lot of grease on my hands just from touching them. And then I'm going to remove the new chain rings from this crankset. And to do this, I am just using an Allen key and a screwdriver that is adjustable, so I can use like all kinds of screwdriver heads with this, and also Allen keys. It's very handy, especially when starting to loosen a hex bolt. It's really helpful to have a little bit of extra torque. When compared to replacing the cassette and chain, switching out the chain rings was far easier. However, it was still time consuming. It just took a while to unscrew all of the bolts. And when it came to removing the chain rings from my bike, it was a little difficult when it came to maneuvering around the pedals since I didn't remove the crankset to remove the chain rings. I'm guessing it had been a really long time since these bolts were touched because it was difficult to get them moving, which is why I'm so glad I was able to use the screwdriver base to turn the Allen key initially. None of the bolts were stripped, but there were some that were just very difficult and stubborn to remove. These are my new chain rings. They're used but in much better condition than my current ones, and I'm going to clean these off before putting them on my bike. Putting the new chain rings on the bike was fairly simple. It took me a little while to get everything lined up, but once I got the first bolt attached, it was smooth sailing from there. After getting all of the bolts tightened, the last thing I did was put the chain back in place. My bike has one cable that needs to be replaced because it frayed. I'm having the bike shop do this for me, and then my bike should be as good as new and ready to ride. It's been quite the journey, but my part of my bike repair is finally complete. I have a new cassette, a new chain, and new chain rings, and I did all this myself.